Hi, it's Cory, and in this video, you're gonna learn how to strum the ukulele. If you're a brand new ukulele player and you've never picked up the instrument before, I highly recommend to actually check out the video that is before this on how to hold the ukulele. You want to make sure that you're going to set yourself up for success when playing the instrument. If you've already been playing for a while and you're looking for a refresher of how to strum, keep watching, or if you are coming here from the other video and you are already ready to be able to strum. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and like this video. There's going to be more videos that are coming out that are specifically designed towards beginner ukulele players or in players that if you've never even picked up the instrument before. Even if you are someone that has more experience with ukulele, it's always a benefit to come back to the basics and really analyze how you're strumming. I know for the first probably a year or so of when I first started playing ukulele, I wasn't really thinking about it. My goal was just to get through the song. But then after I started to really focus on my technique, I got a lot better. So that's my hope for you as well. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is make sure you are in a correct position for holding ukulele. As a quick reminder, that's having the head going diagonal up towards your left, making sure your thumb is positioned nice and secure on the neck of the ukulele, just where the base and the head meet, or just where the neck and the head meet. In addition to you're using your right hand, it is also helping to support the ukulele. And with that, you have your basic position for holding the ukulele. So if you're all ready, then the next step is to start strumming. Now, there's a couple different ways you can strum the ukulele. I always recommend when people first start out to use their thumb, especially because a lot of the students that I work with often are little children and sometimes their finger or their pointer finger is not quite strong enough in comparison to their thumb. But you could choose either to start with your thumb or with your pointer finger. It's 100% your choice. I've talked to people that use both and both have pros and cons to whatever you are trying to accomplish. I typically will switch between the two depending on what I'm doing. If I'm just playing a one strum, I will use my thumb. If I am using a strumming pattern, depending on the pattern, I will move between my finger or my pointer finger and my thumb. So it's important to understand how to use both. Additionally, I found out recently when I hurt my pointer finger, I had to actually start strumming with my middle finger using my thumb as a support, and that ended up working pretty well for me too. So again, everything you learn, you may hear different things from different people, but you gotta just kind of go with what works best for you as long as you're using something that's a pretty agreed upon method that is going to set you up for success. When strumming the ukulele, if you're using your thumb, I always tell my kids to give me a thumbs up. You don't really need much going on here, but they give me a thumbs up and then they relax their hand. So when they're strumming, for instance, on a C chord, my hand is relaxed and my thumb is not tense. I don't want like a tense thumb because you're probably going to strum too hard on the top or on these two strings, your G and your C string, and not enough on the E and the A string. So you have a nice relaxed thumb, and then you're going to try to strum evenly across all the strings. The goal here is to make each of the four strings sound the same. You can hear I'm going to strum too hard on the top and not evenly on the bottom. Listen to what a C chord sounds like that. So I strummed really, really hard, but also I strummed too hard here and it wasn't even. So you couldn't hear those two strings quite as much as that. So that was really exaggerated when I strummed really hard on the G string, and that's pretty much all you heard. But if you strum evenly, you hear all the pitches. It's important to make sure all the pitches are sounded because if you're playing a chord, the whole reason why it's a chord is because there are two or more pitches that are being sounded at the same time. In order to make that chord possible, you do need all the pitches. So if you're only strumming the top two, which would be the G and the C, while that technically would work for a C chord, it's really important to have that E in there too. So that's the number one. Make sure you are strumming evenly. I tell my students often it's almost like you're tickling the ukulele. It's a lot easier to build up strength rather than strumming too hard and to take it away. So for instance, if I were to strum just really softly, and it's almost as if you have just a little bit of something on your hand, and then if you were just kind of wipe it off, like an eyelash or something, you're not going to rub super hard, just kind of brush it away. That's what you're doing with the strumming as well. Just a little brush away. If you're using the pointer finger method, for that, what I recommend and what I've seen before is to make an L shape and then almost like it's deflated, so like, and then you have that shape here, kind of almost as if you were going to like pick at something, like pinch something. Same thing, you want a nice relaxed hand, especially here. You don't want your hand to cramp up. So what you can do there is you have that relaxed hand, still on a C, and then you're going to do a very similar thing that you were doing with your pointer thing, or that you're doing with your thumb, and you're just going to strum down. Now what I like to do is I like to take my thumb and support right here where the first knuckle joint is on your hand, and sort of support the thumb almost as if you're holding a pick. If you know what a pick is, it's almost as if you're holding a pick, but rather than holding it like this, I'm supporting it and putting my thumb in the joint of my first finger. And then I strum. And same thing with the thumb, you want to make sure it's nice and even, so each different string is sounding evenly against the others. So like that. Now if I was doing a strumming pattern, I might not support my thumb with my, I might not support my pointer finger with my thumb, but you can see I just have a really relaxed hand there. So I have a relaxed hand as I'm strumming. You don't want to have like a really claw-like hand, just relax. And the same kind of thing, it's like you're just grazing the top or sort of tickling the ukulele. Now you can strum a lot harder, but if you're strumming harder, you still want to be able to hit each individual string evenly. So a good way to practice that would just be to pluck down each one and then go a little faster. Until eventually you're strumming. What you want to avoid is something like this. That wasn't even at all. I strummed way too hard or picked too hard up that G string, kind of missed the C string there, and then my E and A were way, way quieter than my initial D. If I was going to do something that was even with that same volume level, it would be like this. And then until eventually it was even all the way across. So again, if you're trying to work on strumming evenly, just take the chords you're working on, pick each one individually, and over time get faster and faster and faster until you're strumming all of them in one fluid motion. Because you can see here, I'm going from picking to a strum. You can do the same thing with your pointer finger if that's what you're preferring to use. I find it's a little harder when you're doing the individual picks with it, but again, the goal is to strum all the way across evenly. Now, when you are strumming, the goal here is you're trying to hit the side of your finger here on the string. So this is really exaggerated, but hopefully you can see kind of where you wouldn't actually hit that hard, but you can kind of see where my finger is coming into contact. With your thumb, you're using kind of more the fleshy part of your thumb to strum down. In terms of where you actually want to strum on the ukulele, a lot of times people try to strum over the sound hole here. However, that's not really actually where you want to be strumming. You want to strum in the in-between. This is kind of like the place where it sounds the best, in between the sound hole and the top of the body here. So you're just trying to get the top section, like about that. Now, it's a little hard because that's a pretty small area, but if you're just starting out, what I recommend is rather than taking on a strumming pattern of some kind, just start with just strumming on the down strums or when you're changing chords, because that's going to give you a little bit more control. Also, if you're just strumming there, you can position your hand in a way where it's not going to move anywhere. So if I'm strumming and going along, my hand is moving more because I'm covering more area, going fast or slow. But if I'm keeping it in the same area, I can position my hand there, and then I don't even have to think about it. All I'm really putting my energy towards is probably making the chord that you need. I hope you found this video helpful. If you are continuing in this series, the next video will help you specifically when strumming. This is like the beginning video, and the next one will be for strumming patterns. So make sure to keep watching. There will be more videos in this series in the following weeks that are designed to help you get playing the ukulele the best that you can. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.